one part of the bill that is causing some challenges for some people, and I'm kind of in agreement with them. U.S. Senate overwhelmingly rejects plan to stop states regulating AI. It's Financial Times. They voted 99-1 on Tuesday morning to reject a 10-year ban on states regulating AI models, removing the provisions from President Trump's big, beautiful bill, with Senator Marsha Blackburn stating it was an honor to lead this fight until Congress passes federal legislation like my No Fakes Act and the Kids Online Safety Act. We cannot remove those projections. And this is a proposal backed by lobbyists from Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Meta, OpenAI, Sam Altman, Trump's AI team, David Sachs, and others, aim to prevent inconsistent state rules, but face bipartisan opposition over concerns about stifling oversight of AI social and economic impact. Republican Senator Tom Tillis, the sole dissenter planning to retire, had told the Financial Times the provision was necessary to keep the U.S. the number one country in the world for innovation. Tom, your thoughts on the story here?
Well, so you basically, there's a couple things here. If every state, made a different test for the number of miles per gallon of a car, then that sticker on the window when you go to buy a car would be madness. California, you know what I mean? Like if they all made different standards. So that's the argument the government is making. The argument that people like me are making for the states is, wait a minute, what about when DeSantis said, no, we're not going to do trans stuff in our schools, and we don't want a federal mandate on that. We know our people locally. No, I am not going to close all the beaches. I got people saying that UV is really good for killing bacteria and viruses, so why can't people be at the beaches in Florida during COVID? No, I'm not going to get behind that. That's the tension we have here. What worries me is the proposal was backed by lobbyists. That scares the hell out of me. Always. And then look who's lobbying: Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Meta, OpenAI. So guess what? If all of those are lobbying the Senate, they only need to get 100 people together and get 51 of them to go their way. Make sense? Got it. If it's in the hands of the states, all of those companies have to work with 50 different states, 50 different governors, and they don't want that. And they're claiming, it's going to be like miles per gallon. The sticker on the car would be madness.
No, I get what they're saying. And trust me, I get from their perspective because it lowers the speed of growth and innovation. When we were in the Department of Insurance, we didn't just deal with the federal government on getting one license. We had to get a license in 50 states.
50 little governments.
And we dealt with every single one of the states. And trust me, it was super annoying. So I fully get that part. But for me, if I'm a state, I want to be able to govern and create certain laws with AI that may be different than somebody else's to be able to attract better talent, or to say, no, I'm not okay with you doing that. Is this DeSantis' clip talking about the same issue?
Yes, this is DeSantis late last month, late June, where he discusses why he was not in favor of the AI provisions in the big, beautiful bill.
Go for it. Here's DeSantis.
So raises the issue of this whole artificial intelligence. They're talking about in Washington banning states from being able to regulate it at all for the next 10 years. And as governor, I want to be able to provide protections for you working with the legislature if that's warranted. This stuff is progressing so quickly, but you will absolutely get to a point where they can just take you, they can put words in your mouth and do a video, and you're basically saying something that's the opposite of what you actually believe, and they can have you depict you doing awful things. That's not the world that we want to live in, and so I think that the states need to be able to retain their ability to handle the emerging AI issues. So this is a really significant issue.
You can pause it right there. I'm with it because, again, if a state wants to be a little more liberal, guess what they do? They attract the people that want to have their AIs being done there. If somebody wants to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more conservative, then you may say, that may not be a place for me. Adam, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, just about the AI. Do you remember about a year ago, the World Economic Forum had their list of the top 10 most pressing issues that the world is going to be facing for the next decade? And do you remember the number one on the list was misinformation and disinformation? Do you recall that?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah, so this, I think, is the centerpiece of that. I mean, how many videos? I'm seeing AI videos of grandmas and grandpas talking about all sorts of sexual stuff. It's like, what just happened here? I saw Trump playing the World Cup and score the winning goal.
Yeah, what were you watching, bro?
Oh, yeah, it's pretty sexual. I've seen Taylor Swift sitting on Trump's lap. We've seen these deep fakes, this misinformation, this disinformation. We're getting to the point where we're not going to even know what's real and what's not real. They're talking about some of the highest earning women, real women, they're AI bots. So this might not be the number one issue right now, but if things turn out to go this way, we're going to circle back in 5 years and see if this turned out to be true.
And by the way, I don't even think that's what it is, though. I don't think they're worried about the deep fakes. I think they're worried about other type of regulation that they go above and beyond. Like, let's just say Palantir is trying to do something. They want to be able to say, as long as the federal government says it's okay, it's okay. And Florida wants to be able to say, no, we're not doing that in our state. We're not going to be doing this in our state. Mm-hmm. I think it's a little bit more than that. Is this the clip that was extremely disturbing?
This was with Peter Thiel sitting down with Ross Douthat, and he's talking about the Antichrist and how, the Antichrist could be ushered in through AI because he was warning this guy about it. By the way, Peter Thiel looks kind of odd, but listen to that. Look at how awkward he turns, Pat, once he mentions the Antichrist and him basically being able to usher him in if he's really going there. Play this clip, Robbie. That's going to be in the first.
My very specific question for you, right, is that you're an investor in AI. You're deeply invested in Palantir, in military technology, in technologies of surveillance, in technologies of warfare, and so on, right? And it just seems to me that when you tell me a story about the Antichrist coming to power and using the fear of technological change to sort of impose order on the world, I feel like that Antichrist would maybe be using the tools.
Look at
that you were building, right? Like, wouldn't the Antichrist be like, great, we're not going to have any more technological progress, but I really like what Palantir has done so far, right?
Yeah,
I mean, isn't that a concern? Wouldn't that be the irony of history would be that the man publicly worrying about the Antichrist accidentally hastens his or her arrival?
Look at
there are all these different scenarios. I obviously don't think that that's what I'm doing.
I mean, to be clear, I don't think that's what you're doing either. I'm just interested in how you get to a world willing to submit.
He looks like he's been holding on to the ring of power
permanent
for too long.
authoritarian rule.
Well, but by the way, he makes this is a very important question he's asking right there.
Huge.
He says, I don't think you're doing it, but how do you prevent from a guy? Go back 7 seconds, Rob. Could you go back 7 seconds? Keep going. 10 seconds. Yeah, play that clip from right there. I don't think you're doing it.
Rule.
Well, but again, there are these different gradations of this we can describe. But is this so preposterous, what I've just told you, as a broad account of the stagnation that the entire world has submitted for 50 years to peace and safetyism? This is 1 Thessalonians 5:3. The slogan of the Antichrist is peace and safety, and we've submitted.
That's correct.
He looks.
How do we know that's not AI itself?
Well,
It's actually, Tom, what do you think about what he's saying?
Well, he's pointing. Peter Thiel sounds like, and I'm not inside his head, and there was a lot that was going on in that interview, but he's correctly pointing out that verse in 1 Thessalonians that says that the Antichrist will come. I bring peace, I bring safety. And what does everybody want right now? They want peace and safety. Let's do a 16-week countdown. Let's look at the polling. And so we did that. And it was great programming that you chartered on Valuetainment. And one of the things that we found was state by state. Guess what was the closer you got to the southern border, immigration was number one. And that safety-related immigration was number one. Much different in Missouri than it was in Arizona. In Arizona, Republicans and Democrats were worried about it because in Arizona, it was on their front lawns. So what he's talking about is peace and safety-ism has been something that the voter and the citizen has wanted for 50 years or more. Look at how Germany agreed to things at the end of World War II because the Germans that were still alive in villages that weren't even connected to the Nazis, they just wanted it to stop so they could get back. And so they agreed to things, including, they didn't really protest and understand what was going on with the split of Germany that was happening. And so they went with peace and safety. So what he's talking about is very accurate. People look for peace and safety, and the Antichrist will come offering peace and safety. Now, I disagree. I do not think AI is going to hasten the arrival of the Antichrist. The sin of man will hasten the arrival of the Antichrist and hasten the return of the real Christ, Jesus Christ. However, along the way, the deception will be great, and I think that's the point he's trying to get to. But the other gentleman was making, I think was a good and fair point, aren't every advanced tool, like if you go look at all of the technological tools, you look at the DVD, you look at video games, you look at things that were going on, you look at the multi-camera angles that were on DVD. Do you know what the first industry always to use all of these entertainment advanced technology is?
Government?
Porn.
Oh,
Porn. Yeah. Porn was the first one to use all the advanced stuff on DVD. They say, imagine watching a movie from 5 different angles. Boom. Porn had it first. And so sinfulness and things goes first with usually technological advances because fraudsters used it before there's controls and evil people use it before there's laws and a sheriff. And so, whereas the Antichrist will say, hey, I will clean all this up. I will make it nice for you. He's absolutely correct, and he's speaking from a biblical point of view.
I like it. Once a year, we host an event called the Vault Conference. If you're somebody that either runs a business, you're a married couple, husband and wife, life's been kind of flatlining lately. There's not been too much things that are growing in ways, business, personal, financial, and you kind of want to call a time out and get away and spend 4 days with 3,000 other couples and nearly 12,000 people in the same room together to strategize the future of your life with your kids, being intentional about it. I highly, highly recommend you attend the Vault Conference. It's the only conference you can go to where the attendees are comfortable talking about business, are comfortable talking about money, are comfortable talking about politics, are comfortable talking about family values, and no one cares. No one walks on eggshells. You go to some business conferences, oh, we can't talk about politics. We talk about everything. If that's appealing to you, do whatever you can to go to the Vault Conference. Here's a video I did with my patient. Here's a doctor sitting down as a therapist, sitting down with his patient, and guess who his patient is? Rob, go ahead and play the clip.
Matthew, who's my next patient? Oh, this one's gonna be tough. Oh, I gotta take the jacket off for this one. Okay, so what's been happening lately?
Oh, nothing positive. I'll tell you that, Doc. Just, work is crazy. My marriage is hanging on by a thread. I know we talked about that last time I was here. The kids are freaking screaming and yelling all the time. The business is bleeding cash. I can't breathe. So what do I do?
Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you and your wife sat down and actually mapped out your next 5, 10, 15 moves, personal life and your business life?
Never. The only thing we've ever mapped out was our Disneyland trip, just like which rides to go on.
That's one day, though. But I'm talking like 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. You guys have never done that?
Never.
Do you guys read books together? Do you spend a lot of time reading lately or no?
Oh, I don't know about her, but the last thing I read was the back of a shampoo bottle while I was in the
it's not
bathroom. I know, but you should see the stuff that's in there.
It's actually really interesting stuff, but I'm talking like life and business.
No.
Nothing?
Nope.
Okay.
We don't have time.
Does this sound familiar to you? Do you listen to anything he said and say, that's a little bit of me? When is the last time you and your wife took a time out, went away to a business conference to identify your next 5, 10, 15 moves? If you've never done that, we host a conference once a year called the Vault Conference from September 8th to the 11th. If you just watched this, you laughed a little bit, you giggled, but you said, that's kind of me. Get registered. I look forward to seeing you and your spouse September 8th through the 11th at the Gaylord Orlando.
All right.
Well done, team.
Yes. Guys, go to thevaultconference.com. Go to thevaultconference.com. Get registered. Get yourself a ticket. If there's one thing I can tell you since 21 years old, I've gone to 4 to 10 business conferences every year purely to recreate myself. Again, go to thevaultconference.com. Get yourself and your spouse a ticket. Let's spend 4 days to get in Orlando, September 8th through the 11th. Cannot wait to see you there.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.